And now Kamala wants to pull out of the debate with former President Trump. Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, she won't do press conferences. She won't do any interviews. She's replicating Biden's basement strategy of 2020, hiding in the basement. I kid you not. Don't take my word for it. Literally, look it up yourself. Go on the Kamala for President website. There's nothing under policy. Nothing. Zero. Nada. Zilch. So obviously now they're going to try to sneak her into the White House without having to really define who she is, what she stands for. And now looks like they're trying to sabotage or torpedo the one single debate scheduled between Comrade Kamala and Donald Trump. So, as you know, ABC News September 10 is the only scheduled debate between Harris and Trump. Well, now it may not happen. Why? Because Harris's people are now demanding, insisting that the rules be changed. They sent out a letter on Sunday and then they repeated it yesterday, Monday morning into Monday afternoon, that unless certain fundamental changes are made, they do not want to participate in the September 10 ABC News debate. It's going to be a 90-minute debate. As things stand right now, the mics are to be muted. There are to be no notes. They are to stand for 90 minutes. Now, why are these the rules? Because those are the rules that the Biden campaign agreed upon. And Harris has now taken over from the Biden campaign. So if you remember, these were Biden's rules. This was their campaign. They insisted the mics had to be muted, both for the CNN debate, the disaster in which Trump knocked out Biden, and of course for this ABC News debate. And there could be no notes, no sitting. You had to stand. Well, Kamala Harris now says, no. She doesn't want to stand. She wants to sit. But the two more important issues for her is they're insisting now that the mics be hot, as they say, that the mics be unmuted the whole time. Why? Because they believe that they're going to catch Trump in a hot mic moment where he's going to be exasperated or frustrated or angry with Kamala, and that he will say something off-putting or insulting or pejorative or insensitive. And furthermore, if you saw her debate with Mike Pence, Mike Pence, in 2020. In 2020, using the hot mic, Pence would try to jump in, and she would keep saying, "You're interrupting me. Let me finish. Excuse me, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking." She likes to play the victim. So by having a hot mic, and if Trump wants to jump in or cut her off or say something, she will come again and again to that same talking point. You're cutting me off. You're not letting me finish. And that is to paint Trump as a bully. That's why they want unmuted mics. That's why they want the mics on the entire time. It's a direct strategy on the part of Kamala Harris and her people. But more than that, and this to me is the one that's really disgraceful, she wants cheat notes. It's not, so what she's telling us is she has to have notes with her for 90 minutes because she can't memorize the talking points that her handlers want her to regurgitate and parrot during the September 10 debate. In other words, she's so stupid, she's so dumb, she's such a lightweight that what's the matter? You can't remember the messaging points that they're going to cram your head with? You got to have him right beside you to keep looking at him because she doesn't have more than a 500-word vocabulary. As Victor Davis Hanson put it, and he's completely correct, Her vocabulary is maybe 500-600 words. She's got a couple minutes in her. That's it. That's it. And then she starts cackling because she's insecure and she's nervous. So have the notes in front of her so she can keep reading talking points throughout the entire debate. I'm sorry, my friends. But to me, this shows how unqualified she is to be president of the United States. You won't do interviews. You won't do press conferences. You won't take unscripted questions. Now, you won't even do a straight-up debate with no notes? Are you kidding me? Seriously, are you kidding me? Listen now to President Trump. He was asked yesterday, Kamala wants to change the rules. If they change the rules to accommodate Kamala's wishes, will you still debate her? Listen now to Trump's response. Roll cut 2A, Mike.
They also want to change the rules. You know, the deal was we keep the same rules. Now all of a sudden they want to make a change in the rules because she can't answer questions. Why doesn't she do a couple of question answer? Why doesn't she do something like I'm doing right now? She can't talk. We can't have another dummy as a president, okay? We cannot have a dummy. And the people from Vietnam agree with that.
Now, by the way, he was at a Vietnamese restaurant. This was in Virginia. These are all Vietnamese Americans. That's why when he said the people from Vietnam, oh yeah. But he was at a Vietnamese restaurant. The owners support Trump all the way. So do his staff, by the way. And this was after he visited Arlington National Cemetery to honor and commemorate the 13 fallen heroes, the 13 service members killed by a suicide bomber in Kabul during Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, which I'm going to touch on later in the show. But back to his point, he's completely right. He's absolutely completely right. That's why they want to change the rules. She's got to have a cheat sheet. She's got to have all kinds of notes, papers in front of her to read and look at. So instead of memorizing her lines, because she can't remember them, Trump is right, she's too much of a dummy. So she's just going to have to just repeat them and have them right in front of her. So listen now to Trump. He's asked about, well, but they don't want the mics muted. And Trump is saying, look, honestly, it doesn't matter to me. Muted, not muted. Roll cut to B, Mike.
We agreed to the same rules. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on. But the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time. In that case, it was muted. I didn't like it the last time, but it worked out fine. I mean, ask Biden how it worked out. It was fine. And I think it should be the same. We agreed to the same rules. Same rules and same specifications. And I think that's probably what it should be.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm with Trump on this 1,000%. We agreed to the rules for both debates, CNN in June 27th and ABC News September 10th. What's the problem? If they were good enough when they were originally agreed upon, what's the problem? So you wanted the mics not muted. They're not muted. You wanted them muted. They're muted. You didn't want them unmuted. Okay, no problem. Now they were muted against Trump in the first debate. Now you didn't want notes. There are no notes. What's the problem? Now, there's a lot of pressure for some reason on Trump. People are saying, well, he needs the debate. He's got to expose her. If she's going to be a lightweight, she's going to be seen as a lightweight. She's going to perform like a lightweight. So it doesn't matter what the format is, just do it. Get in the arena with her. Now listen to Trump saying, let me tell you the truth. ABC News is the most rabid of all the media outlets against him. More even than CNN, more than NBC, more than CBS. Trump is now saying, look, if they're going to change the rules, and with ABC as the moderator, maybe I shouldn't do the debate at all. Roll cut 2C, Mike.
They're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate. But when I looked at the hostility during the weekend, you watch it. This week with George Slopadopoulous.
And I'm going to get to that. It was a horrible debate between Jonathan Karl and Tom Cotton. It was supposed to be an interview. It turned into a debate. And, I mean, it was, you want to talk about a biased hit piece. And now Cotton ended up destroying Jonathan Karl. But, I mean, look, ABC News, whether it's Stephanopoulos, whether it's Jonathan Karl, whether it's Rachel Scott, it doesn't matter. Whether it's Donna Brazil, that place is crawling with anti-Trump vipers. And these are media assassins. And their job is to take out Trump. Look, I agree with him. I think Kamala Harris is looking for an excuse not to do the debate. She knows she's going to lose. If she's going to do it, she needs to cheat. But she'd rather that the whole thing be called off. So my question to you now, very simple. What should Trump do? Should he agree to the new rules? Or should he stick to the old ones? 619 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Kamala Harris now says she does not want to do the debate with Trump on ABC News on September 10th unless there are fundamental changes to the rules that had been previously agreed upon. The two big changes, there are others, but I'll get to the two big ones. She does not want muted mics. She wants what's called a hot mic. In other words, the mics are on all the time. And her people are open about it. They said the reason why we want them on for 90 minutes, because we'll get under Trump's skin. She's going to anger him. She's going to upset him. And he's going to say something, their words, not mine, unpresidential. That's going to expose who the real Donald Trump is. So they are saying, let's have hot mics. Let's have him on. Let's see what kind of person Donald Trump is for 90 minutes and whether he can stay presidential. Number two, they now are demanding that Kamala Harris must have cheat notes. Notes that she can carry with her, facts, figures, even like lines, literally paragraphs, so that she can have her talking points, regurgitate, recite them instead of having to rely on her memory. Yeah, a portable teleprompter. Yeah, you're dead on, Mike. That's what she wants. She wants a portable teleprompter that she can read off pieces of paper. That's essentially what it is. And because to have a 90-minute debate unscripted is too much for this lightweight. Now, Trump, for now, seems to be holding the line, at least when it comes to the notes. On the mic, he says I'm indifferent. It could go either way. I don't care. Hot mic, muted mic, live mic, muted mic, whether the microphone is on, the microphone is off. But he is making the point that these were rules that we had agreed upon. Why now should we change them? Rules are rules are rules. Now, listen to the Kamala Harris team, because now they're taunting Trump, saying, what are you afraid of? Change the rules and you'll get your debate. But if you don't change the rules, you may not get your debate. Listen now to the communications director for the Harris campaign, Michael Tyler. Roll cut 10. Mike.
What exactly is the vice president's position on this debate?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I think her position is the same as Donald Trump's position on this, because he went on to say in that same interaction that he doesn't care. It doesn't matter to him whether or not the mics are hot, and frankly, that he would prefer if they were hot. So I think this issue is resolved unless Donald Trump allows his handlers to overrule him. We'll have a fulsome debate between the two candidates with live microphones where both candidates will be able to lay out their vision for where they want to take this country.
So they're taunting him. They're basically saying, well, no, he says he doesn't mind, and now his handlers are afraid. His handlers are telling him, no, we want it muted. No, look, to me, number one, Why does he always have to capitulate to Kamala Harris? He wanted a debate on Fox News, September 4th. She said no. He wanted a third debate, saying let's do it on NBC News, CBS News. I don't care. You can do it on CNN again. Very liberal, very left-wing, very pro-Democrat, pro-Harris media outlets. No, she only wants one single debate. This one with ABC News. And now, what is it, a couple weeks before the debate, she wants to change the rules. To me, the big one is the notes. I'm sorry, but if you can't do a 90-minute debate because you're not smart enough, you're not well-read enough, you're not knowledgeable enough to be able to stand on your own 2 feet without constantly looking down at cards, at notes, at talking points, at, what your staff is spoon-feeding you, then I'm sorry, you're not fit to be president of the United States. You can't take questions. You can't do interviews. You can't do press conferences. So really, you don't even have the basic knowledge and comprehension to be president of the United States. I mean, this to me is ridiculous. So I agree with Victor Davis Hanson. I think Trump now has really found his groove. His messaging is perfect. He's barnstorming battleground state after battleground state. He's now running a very disciplined, focused campaign. He just got a major endorsement from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's now running savage ads. I mean, I'm talking brutal, brilliant ads, demolishing Kamala Harris. I don't know if you've seen them. There's one in particular where she's debating herself, where she's saying certain things about inflation, how it's too high, and there's a split screen, and there's Kamala praising Bidenomics. So it's basically the two of them debating each other, and he's exposing how she's responsible for the runaway inflation, the high food, the high groceries, the high gas prices. So he's running these devastating ads. He's now got a big boost from the RFK Jr. endorsement. By the way, he got another major boost yesterday. Tulsi Gabbard has now formally endorsed Trump. So here's another former Democrat, an independent, a progressive, has now come out in favor of Trump. The numbers are going to start to go down. She's bleeding. Kamala Harris's numbers are going to go down. If I'm Donald Trump, say the rules are the rules. If she wants to cancel the debate, let her cancel the debate. And when her numbers continue to go down, and her numbers will continue to go down, she'll become increasingly desperate for a debate. And then she'll come to you, and then you can set the terms exactly how you want. So my advice to Trump, hold the line. Do not make any more concessions. And if Kamala drops out, then it'll be on her. And then you paint her as the chicken, as the coward, as the one who's afraid to go 90 minutes without scripted notes or messaging cards. Agree, disagree? 631 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. I smell fear. That's what I smell. I smell fear, and I sense insecurity now in the Kamala Harris campaign. That's why they want to change the rules for the only scheduled debate between her and, of course, President Donald Trump. And they want to change the rules to have a live hot mic throughout the entire 90 minutes, and that she should be allowed to bring her own notes, cheat notes as they're called, so she can constantly look at whatever, slogans, lines, facts, figures, messaging, talking points. So far, Trump says the rules are the rules are the rules. So my question to you, should Trump agree to these changed rules that the Kamala team is insisting on? Or should he say my way or the highway? In other words, should he be willing to walk away from the debate? If you were advising Trump, what do you think he should do? Because many, including Trump himself, now believe that Kamala is just looking for an excuse to not do the only single debate between the two of them. 617-266-6868. Should Trump agree to the changed rules or not? Should he accept Kamala's terms or not? CJ in Boston. Thanks for holding, CJ, and welcome.
And thank you for taking the call, Jeff. Trump should absolutely refuse to any of these terms. Why should a former president of the United States submit to any rules given out by the Harris people? You know, my response if I was Trump would say, look, throughout my life, I've never bent over to anything, unlike Kamala Harris. And I can tell you that this woman is dumber than dirt. Is she going to be using, should she ever become president? Will she be using cheat sheets when she has to confront Putin or Xi Jinping or any of these international dignitaries? She has to be exposed for this. She has to be exposed for her ignorance and her inability to do her job now. The border czar. She's the border czar. She is responsible, along with Biden, for the murder, rapes, and killings of American citizens. And, Jeff, you touched on this yesterday about Democrats. They are not Democrats. I have said it repeatedly, and your callers have said it. You need to first, to win any battle or win any war, you need to identify your enemy. And the enemy of America right now is the Democratic Communist Party. They need to be identified for what they are. Now, you said that Trump was with Vietnamese people yesterday. I'm very well informed about the Vietnamese. I know the Vietnamese community. We have over 2 million of them in the United States. These people fled the very same thing that Kamala Harris is trying to ram down the throats of all Americans. Cubans are the same way. They fled their country. There are people who have fled the same type of governments that Kamala Harris wants to create today. What this is a threat on democracy. It is a threat on all our rights. The murders continue. They will continue. But you touched on something yesterday about the Democratic Communist Party. You need to understand, and people need to understand these liberals. These liberals don't care about gas prices. They don't care about the cost of mortgages. They don't care about the cost of food. They don't care about their own bond that they will sacrifice on the altar of the Democratic Party. They will rather see this republic go down than to give up their right as Democrats to overturn the greatest country in the world. That is their ultimate goal. Their ultimate goal is to change this into a socialist communist society in which our borders are wide open to let everyone into our country. And just one point I would like to make. There have been arguments made and there have been submissions by certain groups that based on the fact that Kamala Harris's parents were not citizens at the time she was born, that disqualifies her from becoming president of the United States. And that is clear in the Constitution. Does that mean if her parents were deported and she was in the United States of America and she was considered a United States citizen, does that mean that her parents could not be deported? That I just don't understand what's going on. Constant violations of the Constitution, border problems, and everything that else is going on in this country. The Democrats would rather see America fall than to vote for a man who did put America first, who continues to put America first. And I will continue to say that when you hate any man or woman or any individual who wants to make this country great and keep this country great and keep this country number one, you don't hate that individual. You hate your country.
Bingo. Drop the mic. No, I mean, honestly, CJ, drop the mic. I mean, that's, look, as Trump said yesterday, I thought it was one of his best speeches ever. I mean, lately he has been on fire. He said, let me tell you what the choice is this November. It's freedom versus communism. It's America versus communism. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz hate this country, hate everything it stands for. There's now no question. In fact, one of Kamala Harris's Comrade Kamala's leading surrogates, campaign spokespeople, literally said the quiet part out loud. This was a couple days ago. She said, quote unquote, the Bill of Rights, her words, not mine, is a quote unquote meaningless piece of paper. That's what the Bill of Rights is. That we have to quote unquote reimagine America. Well, what do you mean by reimagine America? Communism. So they hate the Constitution. They hate the Bill of Rights. They hate our borders. They hate our troops. They hate our history. They hate our traditions. They hate everything about this country. And this is Obama's fourth term. This is it. This is now the hammer and sickle. This is the communist revolution. That's why you have two commies at the top of the ticket. You've got Comrade Kamala and Tiananmen Tim. Now, if Americans want to vote themselves into communism, which I don't believe they do, but if they want to vote themselves into communism, okay, I don't know what else to tell you. If the last 100 years didn't teach you what communism is, then nothing is going to teach you what communism is. So, to me, I keep going back to this central fact again and again. I don't care if you can't stand Trump's style. I don't care if you find him too crude, too vulgar, too insensitive, too insulting. He says this, he says that, he tweets this, he tweets that. If he goes down in November, America goes down with him. The stakes could not be higher. And when someone is throwing you a lifeline, and I'm telling you, MAGA is the lifeline. His America First agenda is our lifeline. You don't look at the guy and say, did you just drop the F-bomb as you threw me the lifeline? Are you a little rough around the edges? I'm not sure I like the way you say things or express yourself. You grab that lifeline and you say, thank you, Jesus. Okay? Thank you, God. That's what you do. So, to me, look, the choice now could not be starker and it could not be clearer. CJ, thank you very, very much for that call. And look, that's why she's looking for an excuse. Kamala Harris is looking for because you see, she wants to get out of the debate. She's looking for an excuse to get out of the debate. Why? Because Trump is going to expose her by using her own statements against her, her own record, her own policies, her own comments. And I'm not talking 20 years ago. I'm talking just a couple years ago. Hell, a month ago against her. And he is going to show her and unmask her to be the radical leftist, the radical San Francisco communist Marxist that she is. Remember, she's to the left. This is indisputable. She's to the left of Bernie Sanders. She was rated the most left-wing member of the Senate, even more left-wing than socialist Bernie. Who was her first pick as VP? A man who went to communist China 30 times. A man who openly champions and supports the Chinese communist model. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Tiananmen Tim. And what's her central economic policy? And notice, she doesn't want to bring that up anymore. Soviet-style price controls on grocery stores and food production. Which every time it's been tried, whether in communist Cuba, China, the Soviet Union, Venezuela has led to chronic food shortages and in some cases, yes, famine and starvation. And that's who the Democrats are offering us? 650 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, just very, very quickly. I know I played the cut earlier, but there's a lot of new listeners now coming in at about this time. So just super quick reset because I want to go back to the phone lines. Listen now to Trump saying, look, Kamala now wants to change the rules. The debate, there's only going to be one scheduled debate between them. It could be the only debate. And now she wants to change the rules. She wants them to be seated, not to stand for 90 minutes, which to me is a bit odd because, I mean, technically she's much younger than Trump. What is she, 59, almost 60? Trump is going to be, what, 78? Or he is 78? So you would figure if I'm almost 20 years younger, the one that would want to stand would be me, and the one that would want to be sitting is the man who's 78. But no, it's the opposite. He wants to stand, she wants to sit. The two big ones, though, she wants the mics to be unmuted. They were muted between Trump and Biden. Now Kamala's people believe that if they can have a hot mic for 90 minutes, she can constantly turn to Trump and say, let me finish. You're cutting me off. Let me finish my point. Stop interrupting me. That was her technique against Mike Pence in 2020, to come across as a victim of Trump's bullying should he try to interject or talk over her while the mics are hot. So this is a clear, deliberate strategy on their part to portray her as the victim of this ogre, bullying, bad man Trump, evil orange man. The big one for me is she also wants cheat notes. And, I'm not talking a card or two. She wants to bring in pieces of paper. She wants to bring in talking points, messaging points. She wants, basically, as Mike put it, a portable teleprompter, but it's just on paper. So she doesn't have to memorize all her lines and her talking points. It'll all be there for her to just read like a script right in front of her. And of course, the agreement before was muted mics, no audience, both candidates standing for 90 minutes, and of course, no notes. Kamala now wants to change the rules. If you don't accept the new rule changes, she says there'll be no debate. Listen now to Trump. Roll cut. This was him after visiting Arlington National Cemetery at a Vietnamese restaurant. Roll cut to B, Mike.
We agreed to the same rules. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on. But the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time. In that case, it was muted. I didn't like it the last time, but it worked out fine. I mean, ask Biden how it worked out. It was fine. And I think it should be the same. We agreed to the same rules. Same rules and same specifications. And I think that's probably what it should be.
So Trump appears to be holding the line. Kamala's people are saying, you don't agree to the new rule changes, there's no debate. Pressure is building on Trump to accept these new changes, these new rule changes, because they say he should expose her in that debate. He needs the debate more than she does. That's the argument some Trump supporters are making. Do you agree? 617-266-6868. Very quickly, because the response on the text line, fast and furious. This is from 781. Jeff, as much as I think Fraudula, I like that, that's pretty funny, Fraudula asking to bring notes to a debate is absolutely insane, it might show the world just how incompetent and unqualified she really is. So basically, 781 is saying just do the debate. It's okay. Whether the mic is hot or the notes, it'll just make her look more unqualified and incompetent. Others disagree. This is on Messenger. This is from Mark on Messenger. Jeff, by the Democrats wanting to change the rules, this should tell us all we need to know. Kamala Harris, and this is all in caps, is not capable of running this country. I mean, for God's sakes, Jeff, she's not even capable of memorizing notes for a debate. I ask all the liberal moonbats out there that want to vote for Harris, is this the person you really want running our country? If she can't do a simple debate, imagine what our adversaries will do to her. They'll eat her up and spit her out. Period. Full stop. Interesting. Okay, this is from Ken. Jeff, Kamala Harris is the one that needs to debate. People already know what Donald Trump's policies are. People have no clue what Kamala Harris's policies are. She's dumb as a rock. You see, I agree with Ken. You may disagree with me. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I think the one that needs to debate more is her. Now, she may not think that now, but I think as the ads begin to blast away at her and this huge endorsement by RFK Jr. starts to show Trump getting this nice big bounce in the polls, and as her numbers begin to plummet, I think she's going to come to him and say, okay, let's do a debate. To me, if I'm Trump, hold the line. Hold the line. She'll eventually come to you. Okay, one last one, and then I'm going right to the phone lines. It's from Marianne, and this one is a doozy. Jeff, good morning. Well, good morning to you, Marianne. If Trump can be disciplined enough to not interrupt her during the debate, no matter what she says and how badly he wants to, I would be fine with the microphones not being muted. It's a perfect way to let her expose herself. And she won't be able to go back and say, like you said, Trump's a bully and all of that. Also, alcohol and weed abuse are very destructive to the human brain when used continually for years. And that's Kamala. Let her expose herself, but he has to remain disciplined and let her finish whatever it is that she's going to say. And I would also guarantee I would put a paycheck on it, and believe me, I'm struggling, that she will be the one that would be interrupting him when he's speaking. So basically, Marianne is saying if Trump can discipline himself to not interrupt her or cut her off or make snide remarks while the mic is on and she's talking, go for it. The alcoholic is Kamala. The one that's been abusing weed and marijuana for years is Kamala. The one that clearly has serious brain damage is Kamala. The one that can't perform in a debate is Kamala. Don't give her a way out. This is basically what many of you are saying. Force her to do the debate, accept the terms, and Trump will win. Agree, disagree. Dave in Pennsylvania. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
How are you, buddy?
Very good. How are you, Dave?
Good, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, let's go the other way on this one. I agree he should stand the line, but just for the sake of argument, let's have a little fun, Jeff. Say he does let her have the cheat sheets and the microphone and, even a teleprompter, Jeff. Let's go that far. Jeff, she's so stupid. He'll still beat her. Second of all, he could say, well, Kamala, why do you have to read off the teleprompter? Why do you have to look down at your notes? Why do you get to cheat like you're in high school? I mean, Jeff, he can also expose her that way because but of course the media will cover up for her. But Jeff had a live debate before millions of people who are going to decide November on election day. That's the best way to catch her. Why do you got to look down, Kamala? Why do you got to look down? What's that little earpiece, Kamala? Expose her that way too, Jeff.
Interesting. Dave, what do you say to the argument? In other words, you're saying even if he agrees to the rule changes, he can almost mock her during the debate, right? And say, hey, look, Kamala, why do you need all these notes? Kamala, in other words, just, why do you need all this help? Why do you need all this assistance? Show her up for the incompetent buffoon that she is. What do you say to this argument, Dave? It's going to be rigged anyway. This is ABC News. They're going to give her the questions ahead of time. The hostile moderators are going to be attacking Trump nonstop. If it's going to be rigged anyway, at this point, to quote Hillary Clinton, What difference does it make? Give her notes. Give her the hot mic. Let her sit down. Give her everything that she wants. Because rigged is rigged is rigged. What say you?
Jeff, Jeff, I'm going to quote you, buddy. I don't agree with you just 100 or 200%. I agree with you infinitely %. How's that? Maybe not 1,000, Jeff, but we'll put the little sideways 8. Oh, and for you liberals out there, that means infinity, you dumbasses.
So, Dave, if you were advising Trump, you would say, Mr. President, go for the knockout, do the debate on any terms, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sir.
Interesting. Dave, have a great day, my friend, and thank you for that call. Dan in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Dan, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hi, Dan.
And you're absolutely right about the debate, okay? And there's we had a big debate in New Hampshire yesterday. I was there at the event, okay? Unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you, Jeff, freedom is on the ballot in New Hampshire. And it's as simple as this, Jeff. Live free with Chuck Norris for governor or die with Blackstone globalist Kelly Ayotte.
Oh, Dan, look, I hear where you're coming from, but Dan, I don't want to talk New Hampshire right now. And thank you for that call. I want to talk, Trump, Kamala, and the debate, and whether you think he should do the debate, even though she's now asking for a change in the rules. And so let me ask all of you. It is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Should Trump agree to Kamala's new terms for the debate? So I want to ask all of you, Kuhner. Trust me, Trump's people are listening. His team, just so that you know, doesn't want him to agree to the new terms. They believe that this is only going to help Kamala, that this is already going to be slanted against Trump with ABC News, that it's already going to be a very hostile environment, and that her having notes is going to help her considerably. And they figure, no, let her come in with no notes. And Trump will expose her the way he exposed Biden. So his people around him don't want him to agree to the new terms. And when you say, well, what if she pulls out of the debate? Their answer is fine. Let her pull out. We're going to win the election. We don't need the debate. She needs a debate. So I'm just giving you all sides to this. Should Trump agree to the new terms by Kamala Harris for the debate? Yes or no? Should Trump agree yes? Should Trump agree no? A or B? I want to hear from you. A, yes, B, no. You can vote on our webpage, WRKO.com/Kuhner, WRKO.com/Kuhner, KUHN as in National ER. You can also vote via X. I'm quite active on X. My handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, at the Kuhner Report, KUHN as in National ER. So anyway, there's a lot of speculation now that Kamala may skip this debate. If Trump does not agree to these new rules, it looks like she's going to say, forget about it. That's why, here, let me just play you Ted Cruz. Listen now to Ted Cruz. Senator Ted Cruz is saying, do it. It's already rigged. Just do it. You get in the ring. You'll expose her. You'll show the American people what an airhead and a lightweight she is. And you will emerge victorious and triumphant like you did against Biden. Roll cut 11, Mike.
I think Trump needs to do the debate, and frankly, I think he should agree to whatever stupid rules they want. It's going to be hostile and rigged regardless, and I think Kamala Harris would love to cancel the debate and blame it on Trump. Look, she's in a basement. They don't want her challenged ever. If they have an excuse to get out of a debate, they can literally do nothing for the next 71 days except count on the corporate media
So what if
to
Trump
lie.
said...
Interesting. So basically, Cruz is saying, look, they want to run a basement campaign, hide from the media, well, not hide, collude with the media so they don't ask her anything, and run this vacuous, vague, empty, content-free campaign where it's all personality, all style, all image, all propaganda. and you'll find out what you're going to get after you vote for her. And so Cruz is saying, get in a debate with her. You can expose her, unmask her, and reveal her for the fraud and charlatan that she is. Agree, disagree? Doug in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Doug, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Great show.
Thank you, Doug.
Show. So Kamala Harris, what's going to happen when the fairy dust settles? She's going to endorse Trump. Okay? Just joking with that one. No, Kamala Harris, no, she doesn't want to debate. And I think what the Trump organization needs to do is put ads together out there and target the misinformation voters and show them, is this the type of person that you want running the country? And would you want this type of person, if she was handling your finances personally, would you want her to handle them and, you know, take the chance that your finances are going to be there when you retire? I mean, the woman, if she doesn't want to debate Trump, what makes you think she's going to ever be able to do anything with a world leader? I mean, like they said earlier in the show, they'll walk all over her. They'll just trample her. And unfortunately, what we're seeing right now is what you were just saying. You know, they want to hide her in the basement, and they sure as heck do not want anyone to actually see what she really is. And unfortunately, you know, the misinformation voter isn't seeing this. But I think if you can get some ads together to show what Kamala is all about, I think a lot of voters out there might actually have the light bulb go on in their head, and they may realize that, you know, voting for her is a big mistake.
Doug, I completely agree with you. Look, I on every point about Kamala Harris. Let me just ask you this, because to me, I agree with you. I would just add this and tell me if you agree or disagree. What I find even more insulting, you're right, leaders will run roughshod over her. If she can't handle a debate, she certainly can't handle the presidency. There's no question about it. And, you know, say what you want about Trump. He does press conferences all the time. He does interviews all the time. He'll debate anybody, any place, anytime. He'll take on the hostile media, hostile questions from all these rabid anti-Trump reporters. He doesn't care. He says, come at me. Go ahead. Half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. He you know, I don't care how long it takes. Go. Ask and answer. I will ask everything. This one she runs. But to me, what's even more insulting, she wants us, the American people, to vote for her, and yet she won't even tell us what she'll do as president of the United States? I mean, to me, I can't believe how insulting and condescending that is. So what, you don't have to earn our votes? You're just going to be anointed the presidency? You're just going to be handed it to you? Like the nomination was handed to you? Like the vice presidential nomination was handed to you? Like everything in her life has been handed to her on a silver platter? As if somehow she's entitled to be president of the United States? So, to me, if she's not even willing to answer basic questions, do basic interviews, to tell us what she stands for and what she's going to do for the country, should she win in November, I can't think of anything more condescending, more insulting, frankly, more and anti-democratic than that. I mean, you want to talk about disrespecting and insulting the voters. This is it. Doug, am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's unfortunate, but, you know, a portion of this country is so ignorant that they're not opening up their eyes to what is right in front of them. They're blinded. They're absolutely blinded, and they're not realizing, you know, forget about the woman thing. Okay, this is a leader of the free, you know, of the free world, and you know this is the most important job anyone could ever imagine having, and it's so stressful, and there's so much responsibility that the average person that thinks that she could handle this needs to be re-educated, and it has to be done quickly, because I'll tell you, if this woman ever became president, you know, it's going to be an absolute disaster. Okay, and if you think things are bad now, I mean, it's going to be scary, very scary, and I'm really worried about, you know, the fact that I would like to see Trump's, you know, people start targeting, what she would not be able to do because of her incompetency. She's not a brilliant person. And like you said, to have cheat notes in a teleprompter at a debate, I mean, come on. Is she going to do that when she meets with world leaders? Come on, it's insane.
No, you're dead on. No, Doug, you're completely dead on. You're absolutely dead on. It's insane. It really is. It's insulting. It's condescending. It's insane. And it just shows you what a lightweight she is, how she's completely not fit to be president of the United States. Doug, thank you very much for that call. I want to play a quick cut of Trump. This was him yesterday on Truth Social. I'm going to get to this later in the show, I promise. He's talking about the third year anniversary of the Afghanistan debacle, and in particular, the suicide bombing of those 13 brave heroes who were killed at the Kabul airport. But listen to Trump's warning. Roll cut 6C, Mike.
I'm not a fan of Biden at all. I thought he was the worst president in history. I think she's the worst vice president in history, but she got no votes. He got 14 million votes. They staged a coup, and something like that's not supposed to happen in our country. Under my leadership, our nation will be strong and respected like never before, and I will keep America safe. I will keep it safer than ever before. And if I'm not elected, I truly believe you're going to end up in World War III, and you're going to end up in a depression, the likes of 1929. Thank you very much.
Now, he's completely right. Listen to what he's saying. You elect Kamala Harris. I'm telling you, this idiot, this buffoon, this airhead, you're going to have World War III and a Great Depression. When it comes to the leader of the free world, you don't fool around. 720 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. Anthony in Plainville. Thanks for holding, Anthony, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Hi,
Thank
Anthony.
you for taking my call today.
My pleasure.
I just wanted to really kind of agree with Ted Cruz. Trump has got to get on the stage one way or the other with Kamala, and here's why. She can have her note cards, but the policies on them are not going to change. He can directly confront and respond to anything she says, whether she's reading it from a note card or from memory. I also think the reason why that they don't want them standing, Trump is all of 6'3", Kamala's 5'5", and if you noticed at the DNC, her podium was significantly lower than a normal podium, made her look taller. They're trying to create this image. It's just a false image. And they can do that if everything is scripted and pre-planned. I do agree that ABC will probably give her the questions, but that doesn't mean Trump can't follow up with something that maybe she wasn't prepared for. Catch her a little bit. I just think that they really need to have the debate where the stark contrast, there's no question. It's 1 versus 1. He can respond directly. I think he's more disciplined. I'm not too concerned about the mics. I think he's taken this far more serious than when he was debating in 2020. This is the new Trump, and I think that they should definitely be on stage together, 1 versus 1.
Anthony, I'm just curious. What do you say to the argument? Because this is what Jason Miller, one of his top advisors and surrogates, is saying, and other people close to Trump, that he doesn't need to do this debate, that he's got this huge endorsement now from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Tulsi Gabbard just officially endorsed him yesterday, that in other words, he's got all the momentum now behind him, and that eventually she's going to have to do interviews, and she's going to have to give press conferences, and she's going to have to answer questions. And that's when she's going to start to unravel. And so just wait, bide your time. And as her numbers begin to crumble, she's going to come to him and need a debate and want a debate, and then he can set all the terms. What do you say to that argument? That, in other words, she needs the debate more than he does.
I certainly believe that she needs to debate more than he does, but that's risky, Jeff, because what if that doesn't happen? What if that doesn't happen and they follow the playbook of, Kamala, you wait, you bide your time. You don't need to explain anything to anybody. You don't have anything up on your website yet. people can ask, but you're not doing anything. It's almost like Trump has to force out the enemy to destroy the enemy. And I don't mean it in a physical way.
No, I got you. Like, smoke her out, right? In other words, flush her out, smoke her out so that he can then politically annihilate her, correct? Hello, Anthony?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed what you said. Forgive me.
Yeah, no, just to smoke her out, like you said, but to expose. Like you said all the time, Jeff, sunlight is the best disinfectant, but, if she's hiding, there's no guarantee that she's going to come to him for a debate. There's no guarantee that there's going to be interviews that are hard hitting. So that's why I'm saying, I can see both sides, Jeff. I really can. But
I understand. I understand, Anthony. Believe me. Anthony, look, let me ask you this, and I'm asking all of you this, not just Anthony, all of you. Let's play this out. Okay, because there's a possibility now. She's going to pull out of the debate and use the excuse that Trump did not agree to the changes that she pushes, that she advocated. What if she does this? Today, it's 70 days until the election. So basically, it's 2 months and 10 days. What if for the next 70 days, she doesn't give an interview? She doesn't do a single press conference. She doesn't answer any unscripted questions. There are no presidential debates, none. And she doesn't put a single policy up on her website. 70 days. She just hides, and they run ad after ad, and the media just keeps propping her and propping her and propping her. Can she still win in November? What say you, Anthony?
I mean, unfortunately, yes, I think she can. I don't think she will, but that was the strategy with Biden. They hid him, they kept him, and with Kamala, they understand her faults, they understand her weaknesses, and what do you do if you're a good campaign? You try and hide those faults, hide those weaknesses. They don't want her, they know the policies are weak and not popular. So, Jeff, why not try and do that? And you know what? If they did that, then who's going to push back? Not the mainstream media. You'll have you and you'll have other podcasters and conservatives calling it out. But what if that doesn't happen? I mean, that to me wouldn't surprise me. Unfortunately, in this world, it's with everything that we have at our disposal, she should be out there every day like Trump, talking to the people. But it's not happening. And unless it starts happening, what evidence do we have that it's going to?
Interesting. Really interesting. Anthony, very good call. Thank you so much for that call. So look, let me ask you this, because I'm telling you, if they could get away with this, that's exactly what they want. Because the weakness is, yes, Anthony's right. It's her policies. No question. The policies are garbage. The policies are destructive. The policies are evil. But the bigger problem is her. She's the weakness. That's the problem. And again, I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm just telling you, we're talking about chronic alcoholism over many years and chronic drug abuse, especially weed, over many, 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 many years. And you can see it's taken its toll on this woman's brain. There's nothing between the ears. So they want to hide her. Well, what if they succeed? Really, 70 days, honestly. No interviews, no press conferences, not a single debate. They don't even put up a single policy. Will the American people still vote for her? 7:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Okay, we may not even have a presidential debate. The only single one scheduled for on ABC on September 10th between Comrade Kamala and President Trump. She now wants changes to the rules that, frankly, her campaign agreed upon. But too bad. Now she wants to change them, saying she wants a hot mic. In other words, the mics are on for all 90 minutes. They were turned off unless you were speaking, they were turned off during the Biden-Trump debate. They want to change that. They want to keep the mics hot or live on for the full 90 minutes. And they want Kamala to be able to bring in as many notes, cheat cards, notes, pieces of paper, documents so that she can look, read. Obviously, it's a script. My suspicion, and it's just a suspicion, the ABC is going to give the questions ahead of time. And I think she's honestly so stupid that she can't even memorize the answers to the questions. So she wants to have the answers to the questions on paper in front of her, so when they're asked, she can just read them. As Mike put it, it's like a portable teleprompter, except it's on paper. And so that's why now they want notes, and as many notes as you can bring in. Now, I'm sorry, but if you can't do a debate for 90 minutes without relying on cheat sheets and notes, you are not fit to be president of the United States. I mean, you clearly don't have the most basic rudimentary grasp of the issues. Agree, disagree. Listen now to Donald Trump. He was at a Vietnamese restaurant. This is after visiting Arlington National Cemetery. And he says, yep, she wants to change the rules. And I don't know if I'm going to allow it. Roll cut to A, Mike.
They also want to change the rules. You know, the deal was we keep the same rules. Now all of a sudden they want to make a change in the rules because she can't answer questions. Why doesn't she do a couple of question answer? Why doesn't she do something like I'm doing right now? She can't talk. We can't have another dummy as a president, okay? We cannot have a dummy. And the people from Vietnam agree with that.
Now, listen to him saying, and look, I'm going into hostile enemy territory. This is ABC News. This is George Stephanopoulos. This is Rachel Scott. This is Jonathan Karl. I mean, they make CNN look bipartisan in comparison. And he said, look, let me tell you what's really going on. She's looking for a way out. She's looking for any excuse to pull out. So now the excuse is, I wanted these rule changes. He didn't agree. I'm sorry. I'm not doing the debate. Roll cut to C, Mike.
They're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate. But when I looked at the hostility during the weekend, you watch it. This week with George Slopadopoulos.
Okay, D in Middleborough. Thanks for holding, D, and welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, D?
I am fine. I think Trump should go ahead with the debate. I think her notes should be limited to one index card, and that's it. And then she has to speak from there, from her mind, which I don't think she has. And I think the reason they want the open mic is so that Trump will interrupt her. She'll hear him interrupt her or say something under his breath, and she'll have a chance to say, I'm speaking. So he needs to avoid that. He needs to just sit there and let her ramble. I mean, what is she going to do when she meets with foreign nationals? She's going to have an index card in front of her so she knows what to say. It's ridiculous, but let her have it.
D, what do you say to the argument that Trump has the momentum, he has the energy, he's got RFK Jr., he's got this big endorsement, he's going to start to run away with this, he's killing her now with these brutally effective ads. Let her numbers tumble and then set the terms of the debate. That he's already, in other words, that he's already given too much. You have these anti-Trump moderators. It's ABC News. They're already going to give her the questions ahead of time. It's already rigged in her favor. And that these are the rules they already agreed upon. That, you know, in other words, he's basically given away the store to begin with. Why give even more? Because then at this point, it's not a debate. She's just going to be reading from the cue cards.
Well, she can't read from the cue card if she only has one index card. The debate's going to ask a lot more questions. Well, I would hope it does. Then she can be prepared for on an index card. And I do believe that school of thought that if he sits back and just lets her self-destruct, that there is a point to that. But I think the debate is for us. I think it's for the people.
In other words, we deserve a debate, and we should have a debate, even if the rules are tilted against Trump or rigged against Trump. the American people are owed a debate. This is the only one that's scheduled, so let's have it come hell or high water, correct?
That's what I think. Trump is strong. He's a good debater. And I think he can stand on his own. Well, I guess he's going to be sitting now, not standing on his own two feet. But either way, I think she's been doing the job for 3.5 years. Why does she need notes? That shows how weak she is.
D, thank you very much for that call. Bruce in Woburn. Thanks for holding, Bruce, and welcome. Bruce, what say you? Should Trump agree to Kamala's terms, yes or no?
Hey, I'm into change, Jeff. I'm into change. You know what change stands for? Come help a non-achiever get elected. Are you kidding me? And I like what they said, Jeff, about Trump's handlers. He doesn't have handlers. She can't handle him. And she's afraid of us, not him. Us, Jeff.
So, Bruce, you think that basically Trump is right, that she's just looking for an excuse to get out of the debate. And that's why she's coming up with these preposterous new rules. And that's the only reason why. So basically he'll say, no, this is ridiculous. And then she pulls out and then she doesn't have to debate him at all. Correct?
That's what she's fishing for that, Jeff. But it's not going to work because he'll debate her no matter what, how, when, where, how, why. And if he does debate her, then she should accept the fact that she has to go on Fox with him. And she won't. He's going to eat her up and spit her out, Jeff. Everybody I know that was a Democrat is not voting for her. No way. Trump's going to win in Massachusetts, for God's sakes. I really believe this deep down. And listen, you just keep kicking butt and taking names, and Grace and everybody and Sandy and everybody in Kuhner country. They know what time it is. It's time to get Trump back in office.
Amen. Amen, brother. Bruce, thank you very, very much for that call. Personally, I think Massachusetts is a lost cause. I mean, I hear you, Bruce. I love you, man. I love your spirit. I love your fight. I love your passion. But, to me, Massachusetts, that's why there's a reason why they call this the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. New Hampshire, on the other hand, that Trump's going to win. I think we got a real shot at winning New Hampshire. And that's why I've been urging President Trump to come to New Hampshire, keep coming to New Hampshire, because I think New Hampshire, Kuhner country will deliver New Hampshire for President Trump. Lenny in Ipswich. Thanks for holding, Lenny, and welcome.
How you doing, Jeff?
Great. How are you, Lenny?
Fantastic. I listen to you every day. Thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you, Lenny.
You know, Trump's the leader. Trump doesn't need to bend the knee. All they're going to do is attack him in any way. So you can't trust the media. You can't trust the Democrats. You got to disestablish yourself as who you are. And that's what he's done. Why bother bending the knee for her? You don't want to debate? Don't worry. Don't debate. That's my philosophy. I think if they go in there, it's going to be a hostile environment, and they're going to try to expose something on him. And why bother? Why should he do that at this stage of the game? Your opinion?
Lenny, so what you're saying is, and this is what Trump was saying yesterday, they agreed to the rules beforehand. These are the rules. It was good enough for Biden. It was good enough for Harris then. It should be good enough now. Now they want to change it 2 weeks before. The rules are the rules, up or down. You want them, you don't want them. Correct, Lenny?
Yes. Think about it. They want to change our history. They want to change our life. They want to change the government. They want to change the rules that our forefathers brought to this country. Why give them that opportunity? These are the rules. Play by the rules.
Lenny, Thank you very much for that call. Well, that's what Trump was saying yesterday. He goes, I mean, you won't debate me on Fox. I'm debating you on on ABC, which is the most radical of all the networks. It's already going to be rigged against me. And now you want cheat notes and a hot mic? And you want a sitting as well? Blank off. 7:49 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, if you want to see what Trump is up against, just by agreeing to be on ABC News to do the debate, you know the names: Stephanopoulos, Jonathan Karl, Rachel Scott, Donna Brazil. I could go on and on and on. These are rabid Trump haters. In fact, Jonathan Karl, Stephanopoulos have openly said, on their shows, that their mission, their goal is to defeat and destroy Trump in November. So when I say they're rabid partisans, they are completely, openly in the tank for Harris and for the Democrats. So we're not dealing with journalists, quote unquote, even biased journalists. We're dealing with activists, propagandists for the Democratic Party. And this is how bad it is. Okay, this shows you really the level of the propaganda media. Here is Jonathan Karl on ABC this week. He's interviewing Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas. And Senator Tom Cotton makes the obvious point that when Kamala Harris ran for president in 2020 on Jake Tapper, on CNN, we have the video, she repeatedly called not just for a single-payer government-run healthcare system, i.e. socialized medicine, but she said we must abolish all private health insurance. So there's 150 million Americans who are on private health insurance, including, by the way, yours truly, the Kuhner man. Get rid of it. Eliminate it. Abolish it. Now, this alone should disqualify her from being president of the United States. Karl comes out and says, she never said that. And Tom Cotton is, what are you talking about? We have it on tape. Of course she said that. Then Karl turns around and says, she's changed that position. She no longer holds that position. And Cotton is like, where did you get that from? What do you mean she changed her position? She hasn't changed her position. In fact, it's still, my understanding is it's still her position. Here you have a so-called reporter who, A, is so ignorant or willfully ignorant that he doesn't know that she called for abolishing the private health insurance plans of every single American. And then when he's caught with his own ignorance, lies to the senator's face, saying, oh, no, she changed on that. No, she's abandoned that position. No, she didn't. She didn't. And you know she didn't. And this is what Trump is up against? It is the media propaganda industrial complex. Listen to the exchange. It is unbelievable. This was on Sunday, this week with ABC News. Anti-Trump hitman Jonathan Karl, and he's supposedly interviewing Tom Cotton. It was more of a debate than an interview. Roll cut 23, Mike.
President Trump is going to draw a sharp contrast with Kamala Harris, who has supported things like decriminalizing illegal immigration or giving taxpayer-funded health insurance to illegal aliens or taking away health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, banning gas cars, confiscating firearms.
What do you mean taking away health insurance? What are you talking about?
She said when she ran for president that she wants to eliminate private health insurance on the job, 170 million Americans, John.
Yeah, I mean that is not her position now.
How do you know that's not her position? How do you know that's not her position?
I mean, she says she no longer supports Medicare for all.
She has not said that. Okay. Maybe anonymous aides on a Friday night have said that.
She never said it. So you see, look, he's literally making, this is the reporter. Okay, remember, he's supposed to be a quote-unquote journalist. He's not an opinion guy who's shooting his mouth off on some podcast. Okay? I'm talking, this guy's, and by the way, he's supposed to be the top reporter for ABC News. And he's like, well, no, she changed that. She didn't change that. But what are you talking about? You're literally making it up now on her behalf. It continues. Roll cut 23A, Mike.
But this was not a radical convention. I mean, she, as you heard me go through with Bernie Sanders, she is not taking the positions of the far left of her party. She's clearly making an effort to move to the middle.
I did hear what you said to Senator Sanders, and I thought it was clear that he's very disappointed that she's taking these efforts not to change her positions, but to hide her positions.
Bingo.
John. The American people are totally justified to conclude that Kamala Harris is a dangerous San Francisco liberal based on what she campaigned on the last time she ran for president and what this administration has done for the last 4 years. Again, you would have thought watching the Democratic convention last week that the Democrats are not in office, that they're not in power, that they're campaigning against an incumbent Republican, when in reality, she's been part of the failures of the Biden-Harris administration for 4 years. And when she campaigned for president in her own right, she did in fact promise things like decriminalizing illegal immigration and taking away health insurance.
Sounds like Bill in Sudbury when he calls in. And by the way, and you're a reporter. Okay, remember that. You're supposed to be a reporter. So, hey, if you want to work for the Harris campaign, they're hiring. Go. But if you want to be a journalist, do your freaking job. Now, has she called for decriminalizing the border? Of course. She wants the whole world. She said the whole world can come. She wants to decriminalize all laws preventing people from coming into our country illegally. She wants to abolish all private health insurance. She wants to give free health care and free education and free college tuition to every illegal alien in the entire country. She wants to give them full amnesty. I could go on and on and on. This is not the most radical left-wing candidate in the history of the United States. Are you kidding me? And by the way, Cotton is completely right about Bolshevik Bernie. Bernie isn't saying, oh, no, she's flip-flopped. Bernie is saying, well, no, I just don't want her to run from her positions. I don't want her to hide. I want her to tell us exactly what she's been doing in her record and her agenda of the last 3.5, 4 years. I want her to be proud when she says she wants open borders, or when she wants to abolish ICE, or when she wants to give illegals amnesty and free health insurance, or when she wants to abolish all private health insurance plans of every single American. I want her to be proud. And by the way, just so that everybody knows, Kamala Harris, you want to see how radical this woman is calling for a $5 trillion tax increase. $5 trillion. Now, she's going to try to package it as, oh, it's for the rich. It's for corporations. Yeah, who do you think they're going to pass the costs off to? It's going to be absorbed by the American people. This is going to destroy us. The tax increase alone is going to send us into a depression. Then, I don't know if you heard about this insane idea. She now says she supports taxing unrealized capital gains. Jeff, what the hell are unrealized capital gains? Say you buy a Bitcoin, okay? Just indulge me. And you buy it and it's worth $50,000. And it ends up doubling, say, in value to $100,000. But you haven't touched it. You haven't sold it. You haven't done anything. Well, now they're going to tax you for the extra $50,000 you made on your investment, even though you haven't sold it. So they're going to, it's called unrealized capital gains. You just made a big gain. It's not realized. It doesn't matter. We're going to tax it. Your 401k, say your 401k, you have $500,000. I'm just going to make up a figure. And now through good investments, good financial advisor, it's $1 million. Well, that's a $500,000 unrealized capital gains. We're going to tax you. So now I'm going to get taxed for assets and investments and 401ks that I haven't even sold, that I haven't even cashed in. They're just sitting there. Because she's got to pay for the Green New Deal. She's got to pay for socialized medicine. She's got to pay for all this free health care, which is taxpayer-funded health care, and college tuition for illegals. That's why Trump is warning us. He goes, what did I tell you with Biden? I'm telling you now with her. She's going to crash the economy a la 1929. You're going to have a Great Depression, and this idiot with her cue cards is going to lead us into World War III against Russia. That's what you're going to get. And that's why they don't want her vetted. That's why the Democrats are hiding her. That's why the media wants her in the basement. That's why, if you notice, when have you ever seen this? Journalists, you don't want to do an interview? You don't want to ask any questions? You don't want to do a press conference? They're openly collaborating with Kamala the way they openly collaborated with Joe Biden. And never forget that Kamala Harris lied through her teeth again and again and again. She was asked for 3.5 years, have you seen any evidence of mental cognitive decline? Oh, no. Oh, he's sharp as a tack, Joe. Oh, my God. Joe has more energy than anybody. She lied to our faces, and she covered up that we had a senile, decrepit buffoon in the White House who was bought and paid for by communist China. And we're going to give her now the White House? The most important position, not just in America, but in the entire world? Where literally the free world hangs in the balance? She's going to have her finger on the nuclear button? Listen now to Donald Trump saying they want me to debate her on ABC and to change the rules and to give her cheat notes and to give her a hot mic and to have her seated. He goes, hey, come on. Come on. These are the very same people like Donna Brazile who gave the questions to Hillary Clinton beforehand. Enough is enough. They're trying to desperately carry her over the finish line. This is no longer media. This is out and out election interference, out and out propaganda. Roll cut 2. This is Trump after visiting Arlington National Cemetery at a Vietnamese restaurant. Roll cut 2, Mike.
I think ABC is a disgrace. I think having Donna Brazile sitting on that panel, and she's the one that gave the answers and the questions to Hillary Clinton before a debate. I think ABC should be shut out. I'd much rather do it on NBC. I'd much rather do it on CBS, frankly. I think CBS is very unfair, but the best of the group. And certainly I'd do it on Fox. I'd even do it on CNN. I thought CNN treated us very fairly the last time. I think Jake Tapper was very fair and Dana Bash was very fair. But when I watched this interview of Tom Cotton, fortunately he's a total pro, he knows what he's doing. And then when I watched the roundtable after that, I said the hostility is crazy. So we're thinking about it. We're thinking about it.
Should he do the debate on these new terms? Yes or no? Dave in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, it's been a long time, buddy, but you got the Italian Stallion on the line.
Italian baby. Stallion, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How you doing, my friend?
Good. Dave, what do you make of this debate? Should Trump do it, yes or no?
I think he should, but I think rules have to be put in place here, Jeff. Listen, let me just tell you. It's bad. It's really bad that stupidity isn't painful. Kamala wants index cards, right? And she wants a separate word on each card so she can stand there and toss up a word salad. You know, like today was today, yesterday, tomorrow will be today, tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll still be several fries short of a Happy Meal. You know what I'm saying, Jeff? You know what I'm saying? She wants the world to think she's, happy because she gets up there and cackles like a hyena on helium.
Dave, so you're saying, listen, look, Trump should just debate her, agree to her silly terms, because she's that stupid, she's that much of a lightweight, he'll clean her clock, correct?
Jeff, he's going to beat her like a redheaded stepchild on Super Bowl Sunday.
Dave, thank you very, very much for that call. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dave. All right, so look, many of you are saying do it. It doesn't matter. Yes, it's outrageous. Yes, it's ridiculous. Yes, it's insulting. But still, do it. You can beat her with both hands tied behind your back. Dan in North Andover. Thanks for holding, Dan, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff.
Dan, how are you?
Hey, it's doom and gloom, Dan. Hey, I honestly think we are still in a lot of trouble, Jeff. There's a lot of people out there that are just listening to the hype media. So let me tell you, I'm in town this week to take my father to his medical appointments, right? So the other day, I take him to his heart surgeon, okay? Now, this is probably someone that's pretty smart, right? She's a heart surgeon. She says to me, hey, did you watch the primary? The convention. Thank God we've got Kamala. And I said, thank God. I said, why? I said, you realize, what about the fact that when she ran in 2020, she got less than 1% of the vote? She says, oh, well, yeah, because this is what she says. She says, well, that's because she was running against Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar. Both of them are much smarter. I said, okay, I'll give you that. I don't think so, but that's okay. I'll give you that. She says to me, I said, so why wouldn't we want them? She said, well, they're not running. I said, Kamala wasn't running. I said, there was no primary. I said, there was no nomination. They did an electronic nomination on a Sunday night at 10 o'clock at night. I said, that literally, anytime this has happened before where someone's bowing out and it goes to convention, it's called from the floor, and from the floor they vote. I said, this is not the way it works. So she says to me, well, this is why I like her. She's a good talker. That's what we need. I said, you don't think we need someone smart? She said, she can put smart people around her, but she's a good talker, and that's what we need. We don't need people that are going to be condescending and mean. I said, okay. All right, so that's one discussion. Right?
Dan, sorry. And she's a heart surgeon?
Okay, now, flash forward.
Holy mackerel.
Saturday.
No, sorry, Dan, I'm going to let you finish, I promise, but maybe, Dan, maybe you should have your father see a different heart surgeon? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, Dan. They let her operate on people's hearts? Holy mackerel. All right, Dan, please keep going.
So on Saturday, I'm on the phone with a client of mine down in Miami. Very smart woman, very successful woman. And she says to me, so I had posted on Instagram the endorsement by Kennedy to Trump, and she texts me back and she says, "No, that's AI." And I said, "No, it's real." So I get her on the phone and I said to her, "What makes you think it's AI?" She goes, "Kennedy hates Trump. He would never endorse Trump." I said, "No, it's real." So then we start talking about why she loves Kamala, and she can't give me any reason except that she's a good talker. So that's two relatively smart people, Jeff. So I bring up to her, look, you're in real estate. What's going to happen if forget about all the other stuff she does. What about a 46% capital gain? What do you mean? I said, well, that's her proposal, a 46% capital gain. I said, you realize your clients, your elderly clients will never sell their homes, ever. I said, their families will keep them in trust and pass them down to the children. Homes will never trade. The rich will keep all the houses. And she said, well, what? And I had to explain to her how it worked. I said, even if we keep the waiver of capital gains up to $500,000, there's so many houses in this country now that are worth $1 million that people bought for $25,000. They're never going to sell. So, why? Well, I didn't think about that. I said, well, you had to start thinking about it. I said, what about the fact that she let 8 million people over the southern border? Don't you think that caused the housing shortage? You know, we take a country that had a housing shortage and we let 8 million people over the southern border. Doesn't that cause a problem? So she actually converted. I converted her on Saturday to vote Trump. So.
Oh, great job, Dan. Great job. I got to say, you're very good at it. But Dan, if you don't mind, can I just go back to that heart surgeon for a second? What if I said to someone, well, you know, yeah, this heart surgeon's a bit mean and condescending and says a bit nasty things, but man, they know your heart. I mean, they can get a triple bypass, quadruple bypass. It doesn't matter. This person will really take care of your heart. Or I have someone who's a good talker, but doesn't know your heart from your kidney or your liver. Dan, who would you want operating on your heart?
I think I'll take the person that's condescending, because chances are I'm going to be sleeping during the surgery anyway.
Right? I'd be like, hey man, as long as you fix my heart, you can insult me all you want. Dan, phenomenal call. Thank you for that call, Dan. But no, he nailed it. It's this like, you know, oh, she's presentable. Oh, she talks nice. Oh, look at her story. Oh, we're going to break some glass ceilings. This is for President of the United States. She's going to have control over much of our lives, our country, our children, our grandchildren. I don't care how good in other words, how good she can read a script. This is not about script reading. Okay, if you want to be a good script reader, I don't know, go to the local news. Do the weather or something on a local news channel. This is for President of the United States. I want someone who's skilled, talented, experienced, and will put America first. Kamala is not for the job. 8:19, almost 8:20 now on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, a lot of you are weighing in on the Harris campaign's decision now to say she will not show up at the debate unless they change some of the rules that have been previously agreed upon. They want a hot mic, a live mic for the full 90 minutes. They want them, both candidates, both Trump and Comrade Kamala, seated. And the big one, they want Kamala Harris to be allowed to bring in notes, cheat sheets, index cards. In other words, to be able to have the answers and talking points written for her so she can just read from it throughout the entire 90-minute debate. Now, this is from Lauren on Messenger. Jeff, the point of a debate is to show the strengths and weaknesses of the candidates. By allowing Kamala to have notes and all the changes she is asking for is actually and essentially cheating. Donald Trump's strength is to speak off the cuff and without notes and without a teleprompter. This is her weakness. So her weakness, therefore, should be brought out into the light for the idiots who can't see it anyways. Lauren is completely right. It's cheating. That's why you don't bring notes to a debate. You're not ready for the debate. You're just literally reading what people have written for you. Okay, this is from, let me go here. This is from Marianne. Jeff, so let me get this straight. Do you remember open book tests in school? I had to grade some when I volunteered at my son's high school, and a lot of the kids even failed open book tests. She cannot win even with notes, just like those high school kids. But, it's a very good point Marianne makes. It's like a test, but you can bring your textbook with you and open it up. I just don't, which to me always defeated I was like, well, doesn't that defeat the purpose of a test? Either you know your material or you don't know your material. But if you can just bring a textbook and okay, let me just see. So when did Columbus come to America exactly again? Hold on here. Where is it? There's the chapter. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yep. There it is. 1492. I got it. Well, what's the point of doing the test? That's essentially what she's asking for. Okay. One more. Lisa Marie. Jeff, Trump should do the debate. These Democrats think they can win by lying, cheating, scamming, having no policies, and essentially win by doing nothing. They probably have already rigged the election. That's why she doesn't even want to do the debate. And by the way, she's going to look like a fool as she is if she does do the debate. She's in office now. And these fools that vote for her must love struggling, living in debt, and don't care if their country is destroyed. I got to say this. I don't understand the people who vote for her. I really don't. Or are saying they're going to vote for her. Because you're just going to get more of the same. She's been in power for the last 3.5 years. I know the media wants you to believe that she's a fresh face. She's not. They want you to believe that somehow she's this change agent or this agent of change or an outsider. She's not. So who gave us inflation? She did. Who gave us high interest rates? She did. Who gave us high gas and grocery prices? She did. Who gave us the disaster at the border and this invasion? She did. And I'm going to get to this very soon. Who gave us the disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan? In fact, she still takes credit for it. She took credit for it at the time. She takes credit for it now. So, as Lisa Marie put it, what, you like struggling, living in debt? You like that? You like paying through the nose for food and gas and your utility and energy bills? You like that? You like violent crime skyrocketing? You love illegals coming into our state and across the country? To the point that in Stoughton, I posted this link on this big story regarding Stoughton here in Massachusetts, which has now gone national. Fox News, in fact, called me yesterday, wanted me to do an interview on Fox. In Stoughton, which is just, by the way, a symbol or a sign of what's happening in many other places around the country. Okay, it's very similar to what's happening elsewhere. But in Stoughton, for those of you listening that live outside of Massachusetts, it's a town outside of Boston. I guess you can call it part of the greater Boston area, I guess. Anyway, Stoughton now says they don't have enough money for school buses for all their kids. And so parents of over 150 school kids in Stoughton were told, even though they signed up for school buses to take their kids to the public school, they don't have enough money for buses. So tough luck. You have to find your own way to bring your kids to school. But they reserved 2 buses for the families of the so-called migrants, for their kids, and that they can be bused to the school and back to the hotels, back to their Holiday Inn, back to their other places where they're staying. So they have money for illegals and the children of illegals, but they don't have enough money for buses for the parents and families of American citizens and those living in Stoughton. And as I said on X, they are literally prioritizing illegal aliens over our own school children and school kids. If this is not treason, I don't know what is. This is Kamala Harris's America. This is what her and Biden's border invasion have given us. This is what Marxist Maura Healey has done to our state. And you're telling me you want more of this? Illegals are bankrupting our schools, our hospitals, our welfare, our entire social safety net. 8:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so just to put an exclamation point on that whole Stoughton story, it went national. It went viral. Fox even reached out to me. They wanted to do a quick hit on air. And of course, because there was so much exposure and pressure put on the school district and outraged parents, and I don't blame them. So we pay taxes. We asked for this school bus service for our children. We need it. You promised us you would deliver these buses. And all of a sudden now you have 2 buses for illegals to send them back and forth to their Holiday Inns and motels and hotels and send them back to school, but not for our children, citizens of the United States. Guess what? They found the money. Somehow they managed to find the money, and parents were notified yesterday afternoon, I believe, late afternoon. Shazam! We can bus all of your kids to the school. So don't worry about transportation and busing, because suddenly we found the funds. Now, this is Kamala Harris's America. By the way, if it wasn't for people like me on X, if it wasn't for Fox News and others putting a massive spotlight on this story, those parents would have been given the shaft. Those parents would have been left twisting in the wind and saying, well, you drive your kid to school or you arrange for transportation. I don't care if you pay taxes. I don't care if we promised you the buses. The illegals come first. Now, I'm telling you, this is happening all over Massachusetts. This is happening all over the country because no nation can sustain 15 million illegals being poured into any country in 3 years. It is overwhelming. Hospitals, schools, shelters, social safety nets, welfare, food stamps, you name it. And you're going to get a lot more of it because she's going to give them all amnesty plus unemployment insurance plus free health care plus free college tuition plus free education. Now, that's a guarantee. Kamala has promised this to the illegals. Now, this alone will bankrupt the United States. That's why she needs $5 trillion in extra taxes, which is going to be passed off to you, to me, to all of us, and it's going to wipe out the economy. That's why Trump is sounding the alarm bells. He goes, look, believe me, don't believe me. I'm telling you, you combine her insane policies towards Ukraine, more weapons, more money, more aid, continue invading Russia. Ukrainian forces have invaded chunks of southern Russia. So we now have an all-out war between Russia and Ukraine. Kamala wants more of it. And Trump is saying, you don't think this is going to lead to a nuclear war? Are you people mad? So you combine her reckless foreign policy adventurism regarding Mother Russia and Ukraine and what she wants to do here in the United States with her radical open borders, pro-illegal immigration agenda, you're going to get a Great Depression, and God forbid you're going to get World War III. That's why she's running. That's why she won't do interviews. That's why she won't do a press conference. That's why when you look at the policy page, to me, I've never seen this in my life. I've never seen this. As an American historian, I'm telling you, this is completely unprecedented. A major presidential candidate for one of the 2 big parties, 70 days out from an election, doesn't have anything in terms of a policy agenda for the American people to see. Nothing. You go to their website to this day, look under policy, it's empty. There's nothing there. It's blank. There's nothing there. I've never seen anything like this. And we're going to put this woman in the most important, powerful job in the entire world? I'm sorry, you need to get your head examined. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Tim in Waltham. Thanks for holding, Tim, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Tim.
Are we changing the subject from
No. If you want to talk about the debate, go ahead. It's all on the table, Tim. That's Kuhner country. That's the Kuhner report. It's a free speech zone.
I'm on the radio here. I was just saying I would like Trump to go on the offense with this whole thing, and say I'll do the debate, but this is what I want, and just push it. Not that she'll do it, but say that he wants a debate from a nonpartisan source. Someone who moderated like Jeff Kuhner. Instead of just sitting back and just saying, okay, I'll give you everything. Just use the platform to educate people who aren't paying attention, because people might be paying attention to that, and really push the issue that it's not him backing out if he doesn't do it, it's her backing out, because she's the one who's changing it. Of course, the news will try to make it sound like he's the one who's backing out, but in reality, it's her backing out, and I think he really needs to go on the offense, which he usually does anyways. I'm sure he'll do that, but that's just what I was thinking.
No, Tim, look, you and I are very simpatico. I have to say, it's almost like you're reading my mind. They say great minds think alike, Tim. I completely agree with you. I just find it remarkable how they always set the agenda. They always set the terms. They always set the conditions for every debate. They define every issue. It is always on their ground. Always, always. We never fight on our ground. And Alan, who's very active on Messenger, I don't want to give out his last name, but he's a regular caller to the show, and he, on Facebook and on Messenger, he's always messaging me, said, you know what, Jeff? Trump should press the issue. Okay, fine. You want your cheat notes? You want your pieces of paper, and, you want to start, having people write out your positions for you, and you can stand there and look at your index cards and have a stack of them. Fine. And we'll give you the hot mic. And I guess you want to be seated because you don't want people to see. I don't know why. Nothing wrong with being 5'5". Well, I mean, my wife is 5'3". I love her to death. But apparently she feels very insecure that she's 5'5". Trump is, what is he, 6'4"? He's taller than I am. I'm 6'3". So what is he, 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is. And that she's going to feel that she looks small in stature compared to him. She's very insecure. So, okay, fine. We'll let you be seated. Everything has to be scripted for this woman. Everything. But I want it on X. We're not going to do it on ABC News. Why should I give these rabid Trump haters, these vicious anti-Trump assassins? These are not journalists. I mean, these are foaming at the mouth, rabid never-Trumpers. And I'm going to let them ask the questions and have the ability to interrupt and have the ability to cut off my mic or have the ability to, to set the entire terms and conditions of the debate for 90 minutes. No, let's do it on X. And let Elon. Why not? Let Elon Musk ask the questions. And Elon Musk will ask very simple questions. What's your position on immigration? Go. What's your position? How will you fix the inflation? Go. That's it. Just what? How will you fix the inflation crisis? Go. Kamala, you've got 3 minutes. Trump, you've got 3 minutes. Okay, 1 minute rebuttal, 1 minute rebuttal. She won't do it. I knew she's an absolute coward and pathetically insecure when she wouldn't do Fox News, because it's not Jesse Waters or Laura Ingraham or Sean Hannity or Judge Janine. No, it was going to be Brett Baier, and Rhino Martha McCallum. They're both anti-Trumpers. Brett Baier can't stand Trump. Martha McCallum can't stand Trump. It's just that they're going to ask basic questions that aren't completely rigged and tilted in her favor. She can't handle that. Unless she's like a child, like a baby, unless she's being completely coddled and spoon-fed and controlled and scripted and packaged and branded and micromanaged, she falls apart. By the way, Tim, her staff admits this. That's why she hits the bottle. That's why she's always toking. She's always lighting up. Because she's pathetically insecure. She's way in over her head. Way in over her head. And that's why she's got to resort to, drinking or smoking up or getting stoned, or she can't handle the pressure. And then she lashes out at her staff. So apparently now it's coming out when she was a district attorney. She asked an aide to give her a coffee with, I think, double cream, or forget. It was something to do with what she wanted in her coffee. And it wasn't exactly the way she wanted it. The aide said, now it's coming out and spilling the beans. Said the woman yelled at me like a demon for 20 minutes. Yelling, screaming, shouting. I'm the effing attorney general. You call me Madam Attorney General. Where, when I want coffee like this, you give it like this. That's why she's constantly berating and abusing her staff. Because she's a pathetically insecure person. Because every step of her life, she's been lifted above her merit, her capacity, and her talent. As Trump rightly said, she's the ultimate DEI hire. It's time to go on offense. 8:49 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I promise lines are jammed. I'm going to get to all of your calls. I normally never do this in a show. As you know, I like this show to be organic. I like to stay on topic as much as possible. I don't like to just throw topics like throwing mud at a wall, or slinging mud at a wall. But I just very quickly, if you can just indulge me for a minute or two. Ever since Robert F. Kennedy Jr. came out to endorse Donald Trump, what the media and the Democrats are doing to RFK, it is disgusting. I'm telling you, this is the stuff that would make the Nazis or the Bolsheviks in Russia blush. You want to talk about vile, obscene propaganda. So as I speak to you now, one of Robert F. Kennedy's siblings, his sister, Carrie Kennedy, okay? By the way, look at her history of drug abuse. I'm just saying, okay? But let that go. So, people in glass houses shouldn't be casting stones. The way she's going on against her brother, now they're making these wild accusations that he was taking chainsaws. Listen to this. That RFK would take chainsaws and saw off the heads of whales and drink the whale juice. Like they're trying to portray him as this psychopath, like the second coming of Jeffrey Dahmer. The way they're portraying him, it's like something out of a movie, like Jason from, Halloween. They're there, with the chainsaw. And he's just slaughtering animals. Listen now to James Carville. Listen to this. Roll cut. This is him on CNN. Roll cut 15. Mike.
Do you have any difference of opinion here from Paul on what he said about it? I mean, do you think it's something that could worry Democrats?
Not at all. And I really feel sorry for the Kennedy family, because I'm going to remind them, you can pick your friends, you can't pick your relatives. And if Bobby Kennedy lived in a more humane country, they would have him in a nice rubber room and, 3 hots in a cot and take care of this guy. He's no business being out on the street mixing and mingling with people, but this is where we are in this country. We have a mental health crisis, and he's at the top of it.
You can look this up. I used to teach this to my students all the time. Please don't take my word for it. In the 1970s and early 80s, under the Soviet Union, one of the ways they would deal with dissidents is say, well, if you oppose the party, you must be mentally ill. Like, really, how could you oppose the party? How could you oppose communism, as they pronounced it in Russian? Communism, socialism. How could you oppose communism and socialism? How could you? You must be mentally ill. So they would literally institutionalize dissidents and say, well, I don't care how brilliant you are. I mean, Sakharov, Bukharev, on and on and on it went. Some of the greatest minds the world's ever seen. I'm talking leading physicists, leading philosophers, leading writers. And they go, oh, you must be mentally ill. And they would put them in mental institutions. That's the Democratic Party today. The Democratic Communist Party today. Well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. broke away from the party. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is actually calling us out for all of our lies and hypocrisy and censorship and lawfare. Oh, my God. In more humane countries, it would be 3 hots and a cot, 3 hot meals, and put him in a padded room. That's what you would do with a guy like him. Disgusting. And the host is laughing. She's giggling. This media, I'm telling you, flush it down the toilet. This media is garbage. It's dreck. I'm telling, it's even worse. Propaganda, it's not even good propaganda. It's bad propaganda. They should be utterly ashamed of themselves. This, by the way, is defamation. What they have done to Trump is defamation. What they're now doing to RFK Jr. is defamation. 617-266-6868. And Bobby, if you're listening, because I know a lot of your people listen to the show. I don't know about you, but I know your people do. And I appreciate all the kind notes from people close to Kennedy, Bobby, and for, appreciating my support. You know, with some of these family members, I think you're better off without them. I'm going to be, Bobby, I know it's not nice. I know you grew up with them. I know you have fond childhood memories. But I'm telling you, the way they're mistreating you, the way they're vilifying you, the way they're insulting and demeaning and degrading you, you're better off without them. I'm telling you, you're better off without them. You deserve better. Susan, I said my piece. Susan in Boston. Thanks for holding, Susan, and welcome.
I had a couple of comments, but first, it seems like a simple solution, or not a solution, but a road that might help our country as an overall. Why, instead of people protesting, why can't we have some people organizing prayer fests in different cities and counties and all across the nation? Gather in oneness. Go to God. He said, if my people will humble themselves and pray, I'll heal their land. We need to have God behind us in spite of everything because of everything that's going on. And the other thing is, I think that after the election, these illegal aliens are going to they're going to dump them like a hot potato. Just like they say, oh, you can't stay at the airport, you have to find your own, housing. How are they going to do all that? It's going to be total chaos. They're just using them till they get elected.
I agree. Susan, I completely agree. Susan, and let me make another suggestion. I agree on both counts. I think people need to pray. I think if Christians and Jews and whatever denomination or religious faith you are, I think people should pray. I think they should try to pray together. I think there is strength in prayer. Our founding fathers prayed. Throughout our history, we've constantly prayed. I know FDR openly prayed on the air. When he talked about D-Day, he went and asked Americans to all pray together as he announced the great, invasion of France and the beginning of the end of the Nazis. So we have done this repeatedly in our past, in our history. But what I'm thinking of doing, and you tell me if you think it's a good idea, I think it's time for people to go to their churches, and I don't care again what denomination, what religious faith you are. This is America. You worship exactly how you please. I think it's time, for example, I want to go to my local parish, my Catholic church, and say why Catholics should vote for Trump. And I'm going to talk to the priest and say, let's do it on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night or a Tuesday night. I'm not saying during the Mass, not on Sunday, but on a day of the week, and invite the flock to come and say, here's why you should vote for Trump. Now, if another Catholic wants to say we should vote for Kamala, bring that person and we can have a very civil debate. And I think we should do that for any denomination. In fact, I'm even thinking of now writing an op-ed piece for a major Catholic newspaper saying Catholics for Trump. or Christians for Trump. I think we need not just to pray for Trump, but to give religious people, Jews for Trump, Hindus for Trump. I don't really, again, Buddhists for Trump, whatever it is, Christians for Trump. But I think we have to give religious people a reason why they should vote for Trump and mobilize every church, every synagogue, every temple in this country. What say you, Susan?
Yeah. There's got to be a leader to do all that. There's got to be a quote unquote community organizer for our party, not just for their party.
Well, why don't Susan? I hear you, but Susan, why don't we be the leaders? In other words, I'm going to do it in my parish. Again, I don't know what denomination or what religious faith you are, but whatever it is, you go to your church or your pastor or whatever, your rabbi, whatever it is. And say, look, I'm not saying during religious services. I'm not asking for that. Please, I respect that. But, on a weekday, I want to make the case, or we want to invite someone to make the case. Look, I'm going to do everything I can for Trump. You set it up in your religious denomination and, try to make it as early as possible because I got to get up very early in the morning. But if you want me to show up there, I will show up free of charge. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to save my country. And I will do everything I can. And there are others who are very articulate, very smart, very good, that are willing to go there and make the case for Trump if you feel uncomfortable making it for yourself. But at a minimum, what everyone can do is you can go to your priest, you can go to your rabbi, you can go to your pastor, you can go to whoever and say, I want to set up something where the congregation, the flock, can listen to the case why we, whatever our faith is, should be supporting Trump. I think, in other words, you don't need to do the speaking. Just set up the time and the day, and we can send someone there, or the Trump campaign can send someone there. So instead of waiting for others to take the lead, why don't we take the initiative? Susan, final word to you.
We have people knocking on doors like the Democrats do. In our church, we knock on doors for God. We can knock on doors for Trump. We can do that too, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, you're not.
But how do you find out? How do you find out who to contact? It's frustrating because
Susan, let me ask you this, without getting too specific, and please, if I'm getting too personal, please tell me. Do you go to church on Sunday, or do you go to temple? I don't know your religious faith.
I'm a I have a non-denominational church. So, everybody's welcome.
So yeah,
Christian church. It's
a Christian church, and you go on Sunday, right?
Sunday and Wednesday night.
Okay, great. So you go see the pastor after Sunday or whatever, and say, "Hey, look, I think this is a very important election. It's one of the most important elections in our country's history. Everybody agrees on that, and I think we should have an educated civil debate." And you invite someone to come and speak on behalf of Kamala Harris, and we should invite someone to speak on behalf of Donald Trump. And Pastor, what do you think is a good day and time? Once you get a date, then you can reach out to me. You can reach out to the Trump campaign. Literally, you call them up, and someone will come. And either I'll come or someone else will come and pack the place, and that's how we're going to do it. We're going to do it church by church, neighborhood by neighborhood, temple by temple, community by community. And that's how we get the word out, and that's how we win. And I love it. Let's start knocking on doors for Trump. Susan, that's how we do it. The Democrats have grassroots. It's time for us to have grassroots. Brian in Boston. Thanks for holding, Brian, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, I love you in a non-sexual way. I don't know if anyone said that in a while. But
Thank you, Brian.
Wanted to bring up a couple points. Number one, I went to grad school and undergrad. I'm pretty much a straight A student. I went to class every day, and on occasion, we would have open book tests. I wanted to make a comment about that lady who talked about the high school students.
Yes.
What I feel is going on with that is the students aren't coming to class, so they don't really know the material. Number two, when the teachers are giving out, the daily or weekly readings, like from the textbooks themselves, they're not doing it. so they don't know where to go to look for the answers, even though the book is right there in front of them. And then this whole, we want to take, allow Kamala to take notes. Well, guess what? If someone is going to be taking notes and writing them on note cards, well, put them on the website so the lay viewer can read along.
In other words, share her notes with the American people, right, Brian?
Right.
Brian, if you were advising Trump, you're his consigliere, as the Italian mob calls it. You're his top advisor. What would you tell him to do? Accept her new terms or hold the line?
I would tell her this. Obviously, you cannot debate. You are not fit for debate. Therefore, you're not fit for president. So unless you actually debate, legit debate, basically don't waste your time. I will do a town meeting. I'll do a town forum, town hall, whatever. And, let me do the job that you can't obviously do.
Interesting. Brian, would you I'm just curious, would you say this? Say, I'll tell you what, you want your unmuted, your so-called hot mic? I'll give you your hot mic. You want to even be sitting? I'll give you the chance to sit, but no notes. In other words, I'll agree to some of your changes, but you're not going to get these cheat notes. There's going to be no open book test for you. Would you do that?
Is probably wasting all of our time. She's making a fool out of all of us. Again, as I mentioned, if she's going to have someone writing down notes on a cue card, put that on the website. Obviously, she has an agenda, or someone is telling her what agenda to have, and you're refusing to allow the voters to make an informed decision because guess what? You're the first person to be nominated without a single vote cast for you. So, don't waste our time. Just, again, if I were Trump, I would go to the people. If she's not going to do a legit debate, do a town hall, show the people, hey, I care about you more than this woman here, because if she really, truly cared about you, she wouldn't have to use notes.
Brian, I love it. I love it. Brian, thank you very much for that call. And then just to add to that, at town hall, say, ask me any question you want. Don't stack it with my supporters. Ask me, and you want, bring in Democrats, bring in independents, I want an open town hall, a complete, genuine town hall, and ask away for 2 hours. One after another, after another, after another. She's not willing to answer your questions. I am. 617-266-6868. Okay, this is from Eric on Messenger, and he makes a really interesting point. Jeff, the reason why Comrade Kamala wants to sit down and not stand is so that the viewers can't see the notes. When you're standing, you can see it's obviously that she's looking at notes, but when you're sitting, you can't tell if she's looking at notes or not. So it's not just because she's insecure about her stature. It's also to hide the notes. And then Eric continues and makes another very good point. Jeff, Kamala also doesn't want to do the debates because it's really Obama that's running for office. In other words, don't ask me any questions. My boss is going to make all the decisions. Like, don't ask me. I don't know. What's your policy on inflation? Barack, Barry, Afghanistan, whatever. Sorry, Ukraine, Barry, the border, Barry, whatever, crime, Barry. So that's another reason why, in her view, she's like, well, answer questions for what? The same people that are running Biden are going to be running me. They're the real power behind the throne. That's the real shadow government. Those are the puppet masters. So they had one puppet, Joey, Dementia Joe, and now it's going to be cackling Kamala. That's it. One puppet replaced with another puppet. But you don't ask the puppet anything. It's the puppet master you have to ask. Sarah on the South Shore. Thanks for holding, Sarah, and welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Sarah.
Just letting you. Hi. I know you already discussed about the school buses in Stoughton, but there was one more point that I wanted you to be aware of.
Please,
I
go
just
ahead,
thought it
Sarah.
was pretty egregious.
By the way, Sarah, has anybody ever said you have a very kind, sweet, gentle voice? Very disarming voice, I have to say. Really, you've been really blessed. Please, go ahead, Sarah.
What happened is there were two buses set aside for the illegal children to pick them up from the hotels, and they were one of them was later than the other. The reason they had the later bus is because the children were complaining that the school didn't have good tasting breakfast, and the breakfast at the hotel was better, but they couldn't make the bus if they ate at the hotel. So they purposely had another bus put in to accommodate those children so they could come later.
So, Sarah, the breakfast that they offer at the school for ordinary, the kids of residents and citizens of Stoughton, is not good enough for the illegals. They prefer the Holiday Inn or the Choice Hotel breakfasts. Is that what you're telling me, Sarah?
You read between the lines, so it was a dual thing where it was doubly egregious, yes.
If you don't mind me asking, so what are they serving at the Holiday Inn that they're not serving, say, at the school breakfast? That's like beneath their standards.
That I don't know. I didn't go that in depth to find that out. But
probably what, Eggs Benedict? I mean, I'm just curious. Probably what, Eggs Benedict? Maybe smoked salmon with cream cheese on a bagel, little lox sandwich, maybe chocolate chip pancakes. I'm just thinking, Sarah, we're paying for all this. So, maybe they like the buffet better than what they get at that school.
And it goes without saying when we complained about, when they complained, I didn't complain, but when it was complained about with the buses, they said, oh, that money comes from grants from the government. Well, that's still our taxes, and those taxes still could have been applied to the actual residents rather than the illegals.
Bingo. Well, that's the checkmate argument. That's why they had to cave. That's why nobody was buying their BS, their story. Oh, it's the breakfast we had in Milwaukee. Oh, okay. That's what they get at the Holiday Inn. That's a nice breakfast. Whoa, no wonder they don't want to have the breakfast at school. So now, it's waffles, it's pancakes, it's scrambled eggs, it's whole wheat toast, it's muffins, it's danishes, it's yogurts, milk, chocolate milk, juice. Don't worry. Fruit. They're loaded. So, Sarah, there you go. Hey, look, say what you want, Sarah. If you ever go around the world and travel, you just tell everybody this. Nobody treats illegals better than we do. With us, it's 5 stars all the way, Sarah. Or your money back. Sarah.
Where they found the money.
Yeah, well, it's us. We're paying for all this, Sarah. We're paying for it.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for that call, Sarah. So, when people, I'm serious, when people say, hey, do you do charitable giving? All the time. all we do is charitable giving as American taxpayers. Really. That's my line now with the priest at my parish. He goes, hey, Jeff, you want to contribute? Hey, all I do is contribute. What do you thought? I'm Mother Teresa. The way we're treating these illegals, I'm a candidate for sainthood. 617-266-6868. Just treat me like an illegal, baby. 919 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare. John in Peabody. Thanks for holding, John. And as always, welcome.
The great, powerful Kuhners. What's going on, Jeff?
I'm doing great. How are you, John?
I'm okay, Jeff. I'm going to step away from the debate stage just for a second, but stay on point. We have 3 of the heavy hitter world leaders running this world right now: Russia, China, and Iran. And I'll tell you right now, this woman is not built for debate. She is not built for diplomacy. She's not built for spontaneity. She's not built for elaborating. These people will never put a woman on their platform. Like Trump said, they will run right over her. But I'll tell you, I'll make a prediction, Jeff. If she does get in, she is going to be an executive order whore. You thought Obama and Biden were bad. I mean, this woman is, like I said, is so lost. You thought Biden was lost in the woods. This woman can get lost in a phone booth. She is not built for spontaneity. She's not built for going to summits. This person is not ready to take on people who will basically outdo her, outpower her. She's not ready, Jeff. And this country's not ready for it either. I'm telling you right now, Jeff, we are dealing with a very dangerous individual. She will trash this country in less than a year. What say you?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. John, let me flush you out a little bit more. When you say, Jeff, she's going to, trash this country in less than a year, and you're often always right. In fact, not often, you're always right. So far, I think you're batting 1,000 when it comes to every prediction that you've made on this show over the years. That's why I told you I never want to come to you and ask you whether I'm going to get a heart attack or, am I going to get cancer? Because I don't want to know what the answer is. Because if you say yes, I'm like, oh no, I got to start get my will ready. So, John, I've got to ask you, what do you think will happen within a year under Kamala Harris? Give me the scenario. Let's say she wins, just for the sake of argument. There's enough idiots in this country that put her over the top. Spell it out for everybody. What would she do, and how would America look like, say, in November 2025?
Well, Jeff, like I said, she will dance over Congress. She will dance over the House and Senate to basically push these green new remember that committee called the Squad?
Yes.
He will put them back in play, and they will be more powerful than ever. And basically, we'll be run by a country of misfits. But I'll make one suggestion for Trump to take on the debate. If Trump was called for the debate, if he had his turn to be called, he says, well, I'm going to skip this turn, and I'm going to ask Kamala a question. And let's see if she can stand to basically come back with him with some spontaneous and genius question, genius answer to his question. That way, that'll shock the media. That'll shock everybody. Have Trump ask her a question and skip his turn. And let's see how that turns out.
Interesting. Well, Mike Tyson's famous line, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So she'll come in with a plan, a strategy, probably notes. I assume Trump will eventually capitulate. I just assume. And the moderators will give her the questions ahead of time. So she'll have everything scripted for her. And then you're right. If Trump can turn it around on her and hit her with an unpredictable point or ask her some kind of an unpredictable question, in other words, punch her in the face, I think you're right. I think she's got a glass jaw and she's going to wither. She's just going to crumble. John, I've got to ask you, what do you think Xi Jinping of China would do to someone like President Kamala Harris or Vladimir Putin or the Ayatollahs of the mullahs of Iran? What would they do if they had her in the Oval Office as the commander-in-chief?
Well, first off, I know that they would most definitely turn down any particular summit or any particular, national meeting, knowing full well, he says, she would need a team of people to stand by her, obviously. And like Biden, like it says, as many people speak for him, they would be saying the same question. As you keep electing presidents, do you just keep, electing stupider and stupider people to run this country so that we can launder the blame on you? Your administrators can hide, and live the life and just launder the blame on someone who just can't, talk a way out of anything. It just seems to me that the presidencies, well, that's the other thing too, Jeff. I just caught myself in this. People in this country, for some reason, seem to be voting for personality as opposed to progress. And that's where the damage is. You're voting for someone because what? She's now a woman? just because she's a woman. There are more intelligent women out there, and we know who they are. But you're voting on the personality of somebody to run this country. What? Because it's a publicity stunt?
Yeah, it's John, you hit the nail right on the head, and I'm so happy you brought this up. It's a brilliant, magnificent point. This is not a personality contest. It's not a game show. It's not a reality show, and you vote who's in and who's out, and who's the more likable and whatever, the more personal or the more charismatic or the funnier or whatever. No. You're voting for President of the United States, man. The most powerful, important office in the country and in the entire world. You vote on character. You vote on the record. You vote on policies. You vote on the agenda. You vote on the content of the person. Not the plumbing, not the skin color, not the hairdo, not the laughing, not the cackling, not the smiling. You're completely right. And this is, you see, we've gotten so immersed in this entertainment pop culture that we live in, with social media and everybody's in front of a screen for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I'm telling you, we can no longer tell fantasy from reality. And it's like a big game for people. Oh, she's a good talker. Oh, I like Kamala. It's time for a change. This is not a sitcom. This is real life. And the stakes could not be higher. More next. 9:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Yesterday was the 3rd year anniversary of one of the most humiliating, degrading moments in American history. One of the lowest points ever in our country. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris executed a disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. And this withdrawal from Afghanistan was one of the most humiliating defeats for the United States, I would argue, in our history. We abandoned our allies. We gave an unprecedented victory to our mortal enemies. It was one of the greatest victories for Islamic terrorism and jihadism the Muslim world has known for hundreds of years. And what was remarkable about the entire debacle and withdrawal is how poorly planned and executed it was. He ordered the military to leave before the civilians and diplomatic personnel. We abandoned Bagram Air Base, left behind billions and billions of dollars of our finest, most advanced military equipment that was taken over by the Taliban, and much of the technology handed over to Communist China and Putin's Russia. The people of Afghanistan were betrayed. And now most of them are living literally in slavery. Women now have to wear the burqa. They cannot show their face in public. They can no longer go to school. They can no longer be educated. They can no longer, God forbid, hold a job because it's such an offense to these medieval fascists that now run that country. Children are sold off into arranged marriages. Children, 7, 8, 9 years old. Those that cooperated with us have been systematically murdered and exterminated. This is the reality of Afghanistan. And all the while, as this debacle unfolded, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris took victory lap after victory lap after victory lap. And it then culminated in that tragic day 3 years ago, yesterday, in which 13 of our American heroes, 13 U.S. service members, were killed, essentially blown up, incinerated by an Islamist suicide bomber. And what makes that crime even worse is that Biden and General Milley, that gutless yellow-livered coward, were warned repeatedly that they were going to hit the Kabul airport, that it was a sitting duck, and yet they did nothing to protect our troops. And even when they spotted the suicide bomber, we had snipers on the roof of the airport saying, we've got a suicide bomber, permission to take out. Green light, permission to take out. And the order came from Milley, permission denied. And then 13 heroes were killed. President Trump yesterday went to Arlington National Cemetery, in a wreath-laying ceremony to honor the 13 fallen, to pay respects to them, their memory, and their families. Do you know where Joe Biden was? He was vacationing in Rehoboth Beach. He just came off a 1-week vacation in California. He's now going to spend another 9 days sunbathing in Rehoboth. He was too busy. He had to get his rear end bronzed. Kamala Harris was nowhere to be seen. This is how they honor the fallen. This is the respect they show for those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our country, our freedoms, our people, our flag. Listen to President Trump. This was him at a Vietnamese restaurant after he laid wreaths and paid his respects at Arlington National Cemetery. Roll cut 1, Mike.
Today, we had a celebration of some great people, some great people who passed away, who were killed in the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan. Because we had an incompetent president with incompetent people leading it, and every one of those people should have been fired. He never fires anybody. Those generals, Milley, and every one of them should have been fired. They took the military out first. If I asked, do we have any children in the room? Because if I asked a child, who should go first? They would say everything but the military. They took the military out first, and then it was a bloodbath, and it was a horrible thing. It was a horrible thing.
He's completely right. And by the way, Trump is now vowing, and I believe him, that when he wins in November, everyone involved in that disastrous debacle and withdrawal from Afghanistan will be fired on day one. Day one. Listen now. This is Trump on Truth Social on the anniversary of the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Roll cut 6, Mike.
This month marks the 3-year anniversary of the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Kamala and Crooked Joe's catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan has just been horrible for all of us. 3 years ago, Kamala and Biden's incompetence left 13 dead warriors, hundreds of civilians killed and grievously wounded, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment on the planet abandoned to the Taliban, right into the hands of the Taliban. It also left 45 incredible soldiers so badly wounded, the legs, the arms, the face, obliteration.
It's heartbreaking. It really is. I'm sorry, it's unforgivable. It was a crime against those service members, those who died and those who were permanently maimed and wounded, to their families, to the civilians, to the people of Afghanistan, and ultimately to the people of America. And you know who bragged about the decision? Listen to President Trump. Roll cut 6A, Mike.
As Vice President, Kamala bragged that she was the last person in the room. She was the tough one. She was the last person in the room during that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan decision. She repeatedly praised the decisions, and she said it led to a catastrophe, but it was worth it. The incompetence and weakness on display from the Biden-Harris administration was an insult to every soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine who ever served in our U.S. military.
Bingo. Oh, you better believe it. Now, what's incredible, I want all of you to think about this. Okay, let this sink in. To this day, she praises the decision to withdraw. She said if we could do it all over again, we'd do it the exact same way. In fact, she praised herself and Biden, saying it took exceptional courage to do what they did. For her, this is a profiling courage. This is statesmanship, what they did. You brag about maybe the most humiliating moment, the most humiliating foreign policy failure in the history of the United States, and that for you is a cause for celebration? And my friends, let me be perfectly clear with all of you. It wasn't just the low water mark of America. It emboldened Vladimir Putin to invade Ukraine. It emboldened the mullahs and Hamas and Hezbollah to take their fight and attack Israel. It emboldened China to encircle Taiwan, to the point now that there is a Cold War between China and Taiwan, and war now could break out any day now. In other words, dictators, tyrants, authoritarians from all over the world saw a weak, feckless, cowardly America and said, now is the time for us to strike. That's why the world is on fire. Everything stemmed from that disaster in Afghanistan. When she was confronted about Afghanistan at a media scrum, a press scrum in 2021, saying there are Americans trapped behind, 13 dead soldiers, many more wounded and crippled. Listen to Kamala's response. Roll cut 18, Mike.
What's your response to reports of Americans? Hold on. Slow down, everybody. I want to talk about two things. First, Afghanistan.
She was laughing. This is in 2021. This is literally as events are unfolding. The 13 Americans are dead. They just got blown up. What's your response? Slow down. Either she was drunk, she was stoned, or she's an idiot. This woman does not belong in the White House. No way. 9:48 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Sandy made a really good point to me after my mini monologue. She said, you know, Jeff, if there was one word I would use to describe Comrade Kamala, Commie Kamala, odious. And I think that really sums it up. She really is odious. Daryl in Georgia. Thanks for holding, Daryl, and welcome.
Thanks, Jeff, for taking my call.
My pleasure, Daryl.
I got 2 points, and this is in response to suggesting you maybe go to the churches to help people out as far as debates.
Yes.
It sounds good, but it's on the surface, but it won't work. And you can trust me on this because I've been around a long time, and I know liberals. I can't stand them. And I can tell you what's going to happen is you're going to have the liberal media get on the churches, and then they'll lose their tax-exempt status. Or, if not a combination of, if Trump wins, the liberals will go against him. If Kamala Harris wins the election, then they won't say anything, because that's how liberals are. As long as they're winning, they won't complain. So that's the reason why I said having a debate in the church sounds good on the surface, but I think in the long run, it would be a bad idea.
Well, Daryl, I hear where you're coming from, and you're making very, very good arguments. But I'm just curious. Say I just go to my parish, my Catholic church that I go to, and I say to the priest, look, on a Wednesday or Thursday night, I don't mean from the pulpit or during Sunday services, I want to give a talk. Everybody's invited. If they come, they come. They don't come, they don't come. why Catholics should vote for Trump. And you can invite someone saying, on the opposite side, why Catholics should vote for Kamala Harris. And even if you don't want to do a debate, if that's too confrontational, you can do, let's say, me on Wednesday and the other person on Thursday or vice versa, or whatever. First hour is me, second hour is that person or whatever. And let the church, the flock, the congregation hear both sides. Why would they go after your tax-exempt status? I'm just curious, Daryl. If you really play it fair and down the middle, how could they do that? Could the IRS get away with that?
Because anytime they can use Lois Lerner to go after the people who was the Tea Party, I can tell you liberals do stuff like that. Like I said, trust me, I know liberals. They suck. When they're winning, fine. But when they lose, or they're in a process of thinking they're going to lose, then they'll pull out all the stops and they'll use the laws against you. But as long as they're winning, you won't hear a thing about their tax-exempt status.
So you're saying they play dirty and they're going to unleash dirty tricks. And so what you're really doing is you're going to put the church and the church's tax-exempt status in jeopardy. Correct, Daryl?
Exactly.
Interesting.
That's what they're going to do.
Interesting.
Because they're not going to play right. I mean, these are liberals we're dealing with,
Yeah, they're thugs. No, you're right. They're totalitarian thugs. Daryl, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Mike, who do you want me to go to next? Tom in Lakeville. Thanks for holding, Tom, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Tom?
I'm well, thanks. You know something? I think that Trump should simply say, I want to thank Kamala Harris for confessing that she is not ready for this job, that after almost 4 years of being a heartbeat from the presidency, she has learned so little that she requires notes just to be in a debate. And I encourage her to bring the notebook with her so that the entire public can see the visual evidence of how unprepared she is for this job.
So, Tom, what you're saying is accept the new terms, but in a sense, unmask and humiliate her for it, correct?
Every time she looks at the notepad, say, so what did the notebook tell you to say this time, Kamala?
Tom, interesting. Tom, let me ask you this before I let you go. Do you think Trump will agree to the new terms, or do you think Kamala's looking for an excuse to pull out?
She's, of course, looking for an excuse to pull out.
And you're saying don't give it to her, right? Just agree and...
Oh, no, just agree. And again, put it into context. If you need notes, you are not prepared for this job.
Interesting. Tom, really good point. Really good point. Pat in Quincy. Thanks for holding, Pat, and welcome.
My idea kind of goes along with the last caller. I would say, Kamala, I completely understand. Every actress needs her script. So you bring your script and you can sit there and read it to the audience at your pleasure.
So, Pat, you're saying, just like Tom, I know it's horrible. I know it sucks. They're rigging it again, but do the debate, because if he does the debate, he'll crush her, correct?
But call her an actress with a script, because that's what she is.
I got to tell you, if he tattoos her with that, that's going to really damage her, because that's what she really is. You're right. She is an actress. All she's doing is just reading a script. Call her a puppet, call her an actress, call her whatever you want to call her. But, she's clearly not running her own campaign, and she's clearly not running, she's not running her own ideas, because it's obvious people are pulling her strings. Pat, do you think we will have a debate, or do you think Kamala's going to pull out?
I don't know. Either way, he's in a tough situation. They're going to just go all over him, and if he gets upset, or no matter how he does, even if he does great, the media is going to say, you crushed it, she was wonderful. So I don't really care if he does it or not. But if he does it, I really encourage him to call her an actress with a script, tell her to sit there and read to the audience all she wants.
I think it'll be devastating. It'll be devastating. Pat, again, really good call. All right, Dan in Newton. Dan, I hate to do this to you. 1 minute. Go.
Truth the Vote's reporting 650 trained Republican poll watchers applied in Detroit were turned away. Only 50 were accepted. 2,300 Dems in the same report were accepted as poll watchers. It's over, Jeff. It's over.
So can you give me the numbers again, Dan? 2,300. We lost Dan. 2,300 poll watchers for Dems as Dems were accepted. Only 50 Republicans. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Boy, is that fair. Boy, they're so desperate to steal this thing. Oh, what you phonies, you frauds, you. All right, stay hopeful, my friends. Trump's going to win this thing. I'm telling you, he has the hand of God behind him, and he's got Kuhner country. I got to go. Bye-bye.